death in tabletop roleplay games, specifically Dungeons and Dragons, is lame. One of the very first things that rubbed me the wrong way when I first started playing Dungeons and Dragons were death saves, and this whole yo-yo effect of you can just get knocked down, you come back up, you're totally fine, nothing's left. I've made multiple videos on this channel about how to fix death saves in Dungeons and Dragons, and I also think that Pathfinder 2nd Edition did some cool stuff, and a lot of my homebrews have to do with Pathfinder 2nd Edition's dying condition and all of that kind of stuff. And I'll have those videos linked down in the description if you want to fix death saving throws in D&D. My book of an expansion of 5th edition Alcanar's Almanac has like 7 different rules to change and modify death saves in some way. But here in this video, we're talking about blowing the whole system up. If you haven't heard, I am launching my own tabletop roleplay game system called DC20 RPG. It is about to release in its alpha phase right now, and then beta, and then we're going to launch the whole thing. It's all coming through. And this is the Death's Door mechanic in that game. You could take this Death's Door mechanic and apply it to your tabletop roleplay games and make some little tweaks to it, and it would fit just fine, and I absolutely love it. But this opportunity I have when creating a new tabletop roleplay game system is to challenge the foundation of these rules. Is 3 death saves a good system? Because there are some great tension moments that come from rolling death saves and all this kind of stuff, but it also comes with some pretty bad things as well that some of us might be ignoring. The 2 biggest issues I feel with 5th edition's version of death saves and this whole dying concept, and then we'll get into the Death's Door system, is one is whenever you're at 1 health and you get hit with a massive hit, you just go unconscious and now you're unconscious. That's crazy. That's absolutely bonkers. The amount of tension there. It's actually beneficial to be at like 1 hit point. And then whenever someone is at 1 hit point, healers don't want to heal them. That's crazy, and that can't exist in a game. I'm sorry, it just can't. Because then you get hit for 30 and you get taken down. I have homebrews where extra bonus damage turns into death saving throws to try and fix that, but again, that's clunky. Why do we have to do that? And then yes, I know if you exceed their maximum hit points and they instantly die. But how many times does that really happen? And if you're at 1 hit, if you have 20 total hit points and you're at 1 hit point, you shouldn't have to be hit for 21 damage to kill you. You're about to die. You're at 1 health. Come on. So I really don't like that. And as a bonus, whenever you come back up, you're just totally fine. That also has felt weird. And the second problem, which I think is maybe the most anti-fun problem, is when someone does fall unconscious. Oh, okay, they get knocked out. Let's say they're knocked out. Now they have 3 death save fails, 3 death save successes, and they start rolling their death saves. They're no longer playing the game. They now are in timeout. They're in timeout. They can't even play the game. Their entire turn consists of them rolling a death save. Don't get me wrong, there is tension there, but I think it could be done in a better way without having to put the player in timeout and they literally can't play anymore. Their turn comes up, roll their death save, and that's over. And now that tension moment is gone now, and especially if they succeed, now it's even more so gone, and especially if they keep succeeding, it's actually not that big a deal until they start getting to failures. And again, we are now dealing with a bad foundation of a system. But I'm not here to just complain, I'm here to actually fix stuff too. I want to point out the issues so y'all can get y'all thinking about it. And now we propose the new DC20 Death's Door mechanic. See what y'all think. Time out from this new Death's Door mechanic in DC20. We're going to talk about avoiding Death's Door in real life. That's my little segue there for the sponsor of this video. I'm gonna get a little personal on this one. A lot of y'all might be able to relate to what feels like the inevitable slow decline of your own health and in gaining weight and all that kind of stuff. And as myself, I used to be a coach as a profession, and now as a content creator sitting in this room, I've got out of shape. And my man Jordan from Phoenix Performance Coaching reached out to me and really was persistent in exactly what I needed to kind of poke me to get me out there. He was warm, welcoming, customized to my schedule, and customized to what I wanted to do for a training type of plan, and he can do the same thing for you. He's a nerd himself and plays D&D, so I was like, you know what, let me see what this guy's got. He was able to make a custom training plan just for me and my crazy busy lifestyle with all the stuff that I'm trying to do and the needs that I needed. I wanted to be able to play with my 2-year-old kid and not get tired and stand up and down, and my knees hurt sometimes. I'm like, man, I'm getting old. And he gave me a targeted training program based on what I needed. One of the literal goals of this guy is to help tabletop gamers level up their health. And I think that's awesome. And I wanted to share that with you guys. I'm down 10 pounds myself. I'm going to have you guys help me be accountable along with Jordan. And if you want to join in this and kind of test it out for yourself, he has a 14-day free trial link down in the description. Completely free, 14 days, completely customizable to you, and maybe you'll increase your constitution saving throws, huh? See what I did there. But anyway, thank you, Jordan, for helping out us tabletop gamers, and let's get back to the video. Okay, to show you this Death's Door mechanic, I'm going to take you you over to the actual literal alpha of DC20 RPG. This is literally the Death's Door mechanic in the alpha right now. There's going to be some changes. I have some other couple ideas, and through playtesting, we'll kind of buffer that out. But this is what we're rolling with right now. And after playtesting multiple times, it feels so good. Here we go. Whenever a PC is reduced to 0 hit points, they are now on death's door. So at 0 hit points, you don't die immediately. No. You are on death's door. And this is simulating that fight for your life type thing. As it says right here, you're fighting for your life. This is represented however the character wants to describe the state that they look like. They could be prone on the ground, crawling for their life. They could be having their sword, clutching it, and the sword sticking to the ground is the only thing keeping them up. They are not unconscious, but they are in a heavily weakened state, about to die if something's not done soon. Again, touching on that urgency situation. They are about to die. So now here it is, Death's Door. Whenever a creature HP is 0 or lower, its maximum action points become 1 until its HP gets back to 1 or higher. Additionally, the creature gains 1 level of exhaustion. Now, 2 things there to break down real quick is 1, in DC20 RPG, you have 4 action points that you use for all sorts of stuff. I do have a video. I'll link the video down in the description about action points and how they kind of work and stuff. You spend action points to move, you spend action points to attack, help your allies, etc. It's basically a super simple system for action points, and you usually have 4, but whenever you're on Death's Door, you only have 1. You still are playing the game like we talked about earlier. You can make that one desperate swing. You can try and move away as best as you can, but you only can do one thing. You can try and help your ally in the last ditch effort to help them do something as you're fighting for your life. And how exhaustion works in DC20, a real quick concept, it's very simple, is a level 1 exhaustion is -1 to all D20 rolls you make. Level 3 exhaustion is -3 to all D20 rolls you make. Super simple. So they're still playing their character, and there's a penalty of some kind for the exhaustion situation of this lingering, I almost died thing that stays with you, and again, rests and stuff does take away exhaustion. But let's focus on dying. All right, so now let's really put the stakes on this thing. If a creature's health is ever at -3 or lower, they immediately die. Like your character's dead. This isn't like, oh, now you start making death saves and then you roll. No. Your character is dead at -3 health. So at 1 hit point, you're okay. And this is still like you're on the edge and you're not reduced in any way mechanically. But at 0 hit points, you are now on death's door. 0, -1, -2. -3, you die. So between 0 and -2, in that pocket is your death's door. You are fighting for your life within that little pocket of hell. You get 1 action point to try and fight for your life, still playing until you die and make your final stand, whatever it is. When a creature is on death's door, you make a DC10 physical or mental save at the end of your turn. If you succeed at this check, nothing happens. It's just fine. But if you fail this check, you lose 1 HP. Could bring you from 0 down to -1, -1 down to -2, or if you're at -2 and you fail this check, you're dead. You have been so massively wounded, you are bleeding out. This is what that feel and symbolizes, right? You have to heal yourself in some way. You have to do some sort of medicine checks, which we'll get to here in a second. But this physical or mental save is also a kind of a flavor situation too. Physical save would represent your strong, durable body of something like a barbarian or something, and they are able to push through the pain and keep going, right? And then the mental save aspect would be one of those characters you've seen in shows before where it's this scrawny little character, but they keep getting back up after they get knocked down because they have that mental fortitude and grit to keep going, even when they are about to die. And the last thing it says here is if you receive a DC10 medicine check, you no longer have to make a death save at the end of each turn. You are essentially stabilized. You could be stabilized at -1 health, stabilized at -2 health. But again, if you ever, so you're not making that roll to possibly be bleeding out or whatever. You're still at -2 health. Any damage you take, you are dead. You are teetering on the edge. But now let's take a big step back. What does this mean? What are all the things I just said? If that is true in a game, what would that lead to? What would that cause? Well, first of all, healing matters. And that is a very, very purposeful decision, if not what led this mechanic to be in existence. Is healing needs to matter, right? And it matters because if you're at 1 hit point and you get hit for 4 damage, you die instantly. That's scary. Now, if you're not familiar, I do have another video about the damage system in the game, and 4 damage is a big hit. A large two-handed weapon, hit with a large two-handed weapon, that's about 4 damage as far as from a player standpoint, or, you know, large creatures hitting you and stuff. So the damage scale compared to D&D and stuff is about 1/3 or so, 1/3 or 1/4 as much damage, because the numbers are a lot more simple. That's a whole video on that. So I don't want you to think like, oh my gosh, every character's just gonna be dying left and right, because that's a whole nother system that I feel like that I have fixed with the issue issues with damage and health and characters dying super easy at the beginning, and then there's a TPK, and then at high levels they have too much health. I think with DC20 that also problem is fixed, but that's a whole nother topic. But if characters die at -3 hit points and someone's low on health, you should heal them to be able to get them up, because there is no whack-a-mole. There is no they fall down and then okay, healing, oh, and now they're back up, and then they fall down and then now they can't play anymore, and now they can play again, and then there's this weird thing. So now if a character's low on hit points, like something like a fighter, they might want to use that second wind to kind of keep them away from that low spot, because again, action economy, at least, you know, in D&D, whenever you're unconscious, you don't have a turn at all, and at least here you get 1 action point, which is kind of helpful. You can spend that 1 action point on a medicine check on yourself. You can spend it to move, attack, whatever. You can do something. So with the death door mechanic in DC20, the dying player is able to still play the game while still having a lot of tension of this bleeding out death save mechanic of possibly bleeding out. They make their attack, and at the end of their turn, do they? Oh, they lose 1 more health, and they are slowly bleeding out, and they're still playing. And the other people at the table, including themselves, want to heal this player and have healing actually matter. And as far as tension goes, yes, in D&D there is a tense moment when a character rolls a death save, sure, but in DC20, you also get that moment at the end of a character's turn when they make that save to see if they lose health or not. That's also a moment of tension. But the difference is the constant moment of tension whenever someone's even at 1 or 2 health. If you're fighting a very large creature and you're at 1 or 2 health, you're 1 hit away maybe. And I don't know, maybe the biggest thing is just the fact that that character's still conscious. It's always felt weird whenever in D&D, if a character goes down and then like they don't really have like a moment to role play that moment between life and death. They were alive, they got hit for something, and they get knocked out. And then maybe as a dungeon master, you have them ask like what they say in that moment before they hit the ground or something. But now they're like unconscious and they can't say anything really. Or you could role play that they could, I don't know. And then if their character dies, whether being attacked while they're unconscious, which is also kind of strange. And then if they fail all their death saves and their character dies in this moment where now they can't play the character anymore potentially. They never had a moment to say their last words. And then it might be weird if they wake up to see and they whatever. And then I don't know. I think with a death's door system of -3 you die, you can role play that moment all along the way. And if you do have a moment where you get hit and you die, you know at the table this is your final, like what do you say in this moment? And there can be a moment here where this character can say their final last word, because they never had a moment where the character's unconscious and they no longer can play and they just have to roll their dice and keep going. They can still role play and still be a part of it. But that's what I think. What do you think about this death's door system in DC20 RPG? What other parts of DC20 RPG do you want to hear about? I got lots of stuff coming with the magic system, mana points, the new martial maneuver system for all martial characters being able to do stuff. I am trying to fix and change and think outside the box on every single part of this game. If you're interested and want to join along with that process, support the project, you can support down on Patreon, links in the description, and I have a lot of other videos talking about this stuff. I do live streams now. I have a live stream series every other Tuesday night. I'm doing a live stream series showing out all the rules of the game, working through it to kind of let you guys see the sneak peek of if it's something you want to support and get access to, because the alpha is releasing here in about a month or 2. It's coming up soon. So if you want to join me in staying creative and thinking outside the box, peace.